When you think of a leader, what kind of person do you think of? Most people would say it's the person who's in the front lines, who's telling people what to do, who always has something to say. That's not a leader. That's a dictator. But a true leader actually kind of does the opposite. And so I'm going to be revealing 4 principles to becoming a true leader. And the first step is to be the last person to speak. There's a verse in the Bible, Matthew 20 verse 16. And Jesus says, "So the first shall be last, and the last shall be first." Oftentimes the first person to raise an opinion in a meeting or a discussion is the one who's considered the least, because they always come from a place of haste and they always want to be recognized. Right? They're like, yeah, I want to speak first so that everybody can hear what I have to say. But when you're the last person to speak, you have time to gather your thoughts and to hear the perspectives of others to come to a reasonable conclusion. That makes you notable. That makes you honorable. Imagine you're discussing and everyone's giving their opinions and you're listening. And at the end, you're like, look, I've considered all your opinions and they're really good. So how about we do this? Now all of a sudden, they're like, oh, he's smart. He's a good listener. People now gain trust. A leader is someone who's trustworthy. And the second step to becoming a good leader is to become the ultimate servant. Let me ask you this. When there's a problem in a kingdom, who do they go to? Do they go to the Soviet? No, they go to the Sultan. Because the king is actually the biggest servant. Oftentimes the king does the most work. Oftentimes the king is the one who's giving more than he's receiving. For the simple fact that you have to become an example. If you want people to do things, if you want to make an impact, you have to be the example. There's a verse in Acts 20 verse 35 that says, "It is better to give than to receive." Sometimes as a leader, you have to just give. And that doesn't mean you have to be taken advantage of, obviously. It just means that you have to be willing to serve others. And what happens when you serve others? You build an influence. The third step to becoming a leader is to humble yourself. Now you are adopting a servant mindset. Think about what a servant is like. When you think of a servant, you don't think of someone wearing silk, wearing gold. You think of someone wearing leather or cotton, right? Obviously a king wears luxury. And that's not a bad thing, obviously, but it's not always the case. Sometimes the true kings who stand out amongst men, and you can think of some notable examples, right? Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus Christ, and we're going to get to that later on. These people, they didn't show out. They saw themselves as the least. Matthew 23 verse 12 says, "Humble yourself and you shall be exalted." When you feel entitled, when you feel like you need to be seen, you're oftentimes not seen. If you're seeking attention, people don't admire that. But if you're just doing what you're supposed to do without necessarily seeking after recognition, that's honorable. People see that. And what? You build an influence. And last but not least, the fourth step to becoming a leader is to find a good leader. Now, this is something I don't think people acknowledge very often, but everybody is led by something. Even the leaders amongst leaders are led by something, whether that's their desire for power, for lust. So it's up to you as a leader to be led by the right thing, because a leader's ability to lead is only as potent as what they are led by. So if you're led by your lustful desires, then when you become a leader and you build that influence, people start to recognize you and trust you and feel like they can depend on you. You're going to take advantage of them in order to fulfill your lustful desires. If your leader is money, same concept. That's why I believe the greatest leader to have as a leader is Jesus Christ. He is considered the King of Kings and Lord of Lords because he was the ultimate servant. He paid the price that nobody else could, right? He lived a life as a servant, serving others, doing things for other people without anything in return. There's nothing we could have given unto Jesus when he was walking on this earth that could have been worth it for him. No, right? But he still served. He still gave. And so his name was exalted above all names. And when you follow the King of Kings, you become a king, right? That's why he's called the King of Kings. And you learn how to become a true king. And your potential as a leader is now limitless because you serve a limitless God. And now you use that influence to bring people closer to God. You become a blessing. What's better than that? But I hope you found value from this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and join the Jesus Gang, because we put out videos all the time. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.